The CDC reports deaths from drug overdoses continue to climb. In 2016, 64,070 died, 175 per day, one every 8 minutes on average. And tragically, this number does not reflect the tens of thousands dying of other addiction-related causes and illnesses. In 2016, 38,658 died from all gun violence. While any life cut short is a tragedy, since addiction typically kills quietly, this epidemic continues to grow largely unabated and consistently underreported. And though education is an important aspect, decades worth of Just Say No, Scared Straight, and DARE educational programs costing billions of dollars have been, as the current death and relapse rates demonstrate, mostly ineffective, having little discernible effect on the current reality. Addiction is an equal opportunity destroyer of lives. Park Avenue or Park Bench, silk sheets or city streets, gay or straight, liberal, conservative, or just don't care politically. Addiction touches everyone. According to the latest statistics from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, $64 billion is spent per year for addiction health care, while another $520 billion a year is lost to addiction-related crime, missed work, and productivity. Now, what isn't included in those numbers is the pain and suffering the tens of thousands of families who lost someone to addiction felt. For those not touched directly by addiction, odds are they have a friend, acquaintance, or co-worker who has been, while the monetary burden of addiction is shared universally, for it is reflected in the cost of goods and services we all use, but particularly, though, in our healthcare costs. And who has not felt the sadness at the too soon passing from addiction of a great talent whose work we have admired and enjoyed? So in truth, addiction touches everyone, and considering the direct and indirect effects of addiction, describing as an epidemic is appropriate. Freedom from addiction has never been one size fits all. And today more paths of recovery are available than ever before, yet the death and relapse rate continue to climb. Why? Well, ancient ships were powered by dozens, sometimes hundreds of men pulling on oars. If they failed to pull in unison, the ship would not move in the desired direction, if at all. Recovery today is that ship, and though there are many oars in the water, not only are they not pulling in harmony, often they act at cross purposes. Professional recovery treatment, if we are honest, has built-in limitations. Most of these revolve around compensating trained professionals for continued engagement post-treatment, and the lack of peer-based recovery communities embracing alternate paths on a par with the current 12-step communities. Today, there are over 200,000 12-step-based fellowship meetings every week in 181 countries. These communities, however, have a singular focus and unfortunately often display open disdain for anything not fitting their template of recovery, even though many, if not most, first were introduced to recovery in a professional setting. CBT, DBT, EMDR, one-on-one therapy cannot and has not flourished in the current 12-step buck-in-the-basket world. Add in mandated HIPAA confidential requirements, and the issues escalate. I've been in recovery since 1985 and a professional in the field the last 15 years, and the animus between the wild west of 12-step groups and professional recovery cuts both ways. Now, is 12-step recovery the answer? Well, no. And though it has helped millions over the last 80-plus years, Bill Wilson himself, the progenitor of the 12 steps, said as much. But again, if we are honest, the professional model as currently employed is not working. In most cases, substance use disorder health care coverage ends, for all intents and purposes, after a max of 90 days, often less. During the 90 days, though, clients are limited to only a handful of sessions that are billable with a professional. So the reality is we take someone who has been in active addiction for years, introduce them to new ways of thinking and coping techniques which are just beginning to incorporate into their lives with professional help and guidance, which then abruptly stop. relapse when they graduate from treatment. Is it really any wonder why the relapse rate is so high? What if we could build a community that supports CBT, DBT, EMDR, therapy, smart recovery, and all the other modalities and paths, providing a seamless transition for clients post-treatment? A community they are introduced to while still in professional care, a place where these modalities are not only welcomed, but embraced. Additionally, a community not only terrestrial, but in cyberspace, where individuals could access help 24/7, from smartphones, tablets, smart TVs, and computers, where the current generation, and most importantly, the coming generations, are most at home. Where continued engagement with compensated professionals would be available and affordable for clients. To address this, I have created a blueprint for the future incorporating the strengths of both professional treatment and community-based recovery, and how to pay for it all. To borrow from Wayne Dyer, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So here's a blueprint for the future. Title is Miracles of Recovery, and these are the 5 basic concepts and aspects. To provide a safe, non-judgmental, integrated, comprehensive, modern environment of recovery, providing resources for all who suffer and their loved ones, utilizing all the recovery tools, technology, and assets available today, embracing all avenues of recovery with an eye to the future. Now, the approach is multi-pronged. The first aspect, an updated design for living. This new book will build on what has proved effective in the past, while incorporating and explaining current recovery modalities and alternate paths. Second aspect, create a new sustainable recovery community embracing all current recovery modalities. A format bridging to past generations, those 40 and over, with real-world gatherings and hardback books. But more importantly to this and the coming generations, the third aspect, dependence on instantaneous communication, social media, and a preference for electronic commerce and online personal and professional engagement. Building and establishing sustainable and compensated links, fourth aspect, between the professional recovery and these recovery communities, real world and online. And the fifth aspect, multiple avenues to finance it all. Participating in recovery from mobile devices, smart screen TVs, computers, and virtual reality as that platform evolves is the future. Some may say sadly so, but this is the world we live in, and to save lives needs to be embraced. Nothing changes if nothing changes. We have the tools, we have the means and technology, adding the will and commitment of dedicated individuals from all aspects of the recovery world, putting aside differences in approach to recovery, finding common ground, uniting in common cause for the welfare of all who suffer and those who love them. We can alter the current trajectory and bring hope and healing to the lives of millions who suffer and those who love them. My name is Vincent Lee Jones. Please join me in changing the face of recovery.